Okay, so we have your website kind of mapped out, right? You have some general ideas, you have an overview, you might have some projects, but really let's get down to what is those images that are on your site and how best to curate them. So the first thing you need to do is define your focus, right? Are you shooting fashion, automotive, lifestyle, food, architecture, interiors, whatever it might be, but you have to have a clear focus to help guide your selection process of your images. And then you want to gather all of your images together so you can review and organize those images. So pull them all into one area and look at them really critically. Like, what is the lighting? What is the quality of that image? What is the composition? And what is the overall impact of each photograph? Organize those images into various categories based on the focus that you chose. This will help you see the things that are really working well together, that fit together, that's, it has a nice flow and creates a really good narrative. Next, consider the storytelling element. Think about how your images all come together in a collective. Your portfolio should be more than just hero images. They should really convey a cohesive narrative that engages the viewer. Establish a visual consistency. So you want to aim for consistency through your photos. You don't want to have one photo that's edited in one way with different color tones and different film grains, and the next photo be completely different, right? So you want to find things that are consistent in your style, in your color palette, in the mood, and should flow from one photo to the next. It should all look like it's coming from the same photographer. The images should pull together your different abilities in lighting and editing, as well as that overall tone I just spoke about. So look for these consistencies and pull out anything that's not working. Remember, we talked about having a narrative and having a flow image to image. So if there's something where all of a sudden you feel like it's like a bump or kind of veers in a weird way, that image, you might want to pull it out. Now you want to edit ruthlessly. That's where I was just talking about those bumps and those tweaks, right? You want to pay attention to how many images you've pulled and then be really selective and trim everything down to the absolute best representation of your work. Avoid any duplicates, right? If you are shooting a skateboarder, for instance, and you're really focused on their shoes, having one image of the bottom of the shoe or one image of the side when they're pushing off is enough to give your viewer an idea that you can get those close-up shots. So move on to more interesting angles and interesting storytelling elements to that product. Now remember, it's quality over quantity. You want to keep the number of images as low as possible. You only want to show off your best work that shows that consistent style and overall narrative. This really helps with your flow and order. So you can arrange those images, right? Now that you've trimmed them way back, you can arrange those images into a sequence that flows logically and tells a compelling story. So for instance, that story might be, if you're a food shooter, you might be showing stuff where you're showing bright and light and then moving slowly into a darker, moodier palette. That would show a story of how you use lighting, as well as all the different composition elements that we already spoke about. Avoid placing similar images next to each other, right? So we talked about, like, if you had two macro images, you wouldn't want those next to each other. Or those shoe photos I just spoke about, you don't want to have shoe, 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 shoe. You want to have a variety mixed in there. Once you have your selections ready to go and you have it all pared down and best organized and there's a flow, this is when you want to seek feedback. Now that can be from mentors, peers, other experienced photographers, and even at portfolio reviews. You can ask what's working, what their favorite images are, if they feel the flow is right, if they feel there's a gap in the work. And that's going to help you up-level your portfolio and your curating skills as you move forward. Now, as you take more and more work moving forward as photographers, we keep adding to our bucket of images. You're going to want to update your portfolio regularly. Be sure to like and subscribe so you know when the next video comes, you'll get a notification. And share with your friends if you found value in this. If you have thoughts or questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I answer every one of them. And tune in for the next video when I'm going to talk about how to take this beautiful portfolio that you put together and do the outreach to get it in front of the right people. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.